Denny, how'd first practice go?
It was a struggle. We didn't have the speed that we needed. We were trying a different setup here than what we had here in the fall, and it's I don't know. It seemed all right from the get-go, but then we lost the handle a little bit. So we've struggled for a little bit during the course of the first practice, and we're going to make some big changes going into qualifying.
All right. Questions? We'll go with Lewis.
Louis Frank, ESPN, the magazine. Sorry to bring up last week again, but how do you bounce back? From a week like that. You think it stops any momentum, and what do you do to bounce back?
I mean, it's a total different beast. I mean, we only run 2 of those a year. Road courses really, we didn't spend much effort on that track. Obviously, we were going to run much better than what we finished. We didn't finish out bad because we ran that bad. We just got into a lot of incidents and whatnot. So it's, really we were cutting the car up in the garage laughing about it. So for us, it's no big deal.
Chuck.
Chuck Howard, NASCAR Media Group. Denny, looking ahead to next week, do you approach the 400 much differently than you do the 500, even though it's a shorter race? I mean, some guys will lay back maybe at Talladega or at the 500 early on, but since it's a little bit shorter, do you just let it rip, or is there still the similar strategy as to February to July?
It's similar. In the 500 this year, we chose to kind of lay back for most of the race and kind of let things play out. This, I'd say next week we'd probably just try to stay up front for most of the day. So I mean, it's you don't treat it any different during the middle stage of race. You just you set your strategy right from the get-go. Either you're going to lay back or you're going to try to run up front, and regardless of whether it's 400 or 500 miles, you're going to do it the same.
Don.
Danny, along those same lines, how much different is Daytona at night to Talladega at any time? And will you even use the same car there?
You can. It's much different. It's really, I don't even consider Daytona very much super speedway racing anymore. It's gotten so rough, and handling is such a big thing. It's almost like Talladega is its own beast, and Daytona is. You kind of treat Daytona almost like you would an intermediate racetrack from my standpoint. So it's very much harder to get your setup right at Daytona versus Talladega. So you go into Talladega weekend, you pretty much consider it a weekend off, or the crew guys do anyway, because they never do any work on the car. The driver's always like, yeah, it's handling fine. So Daytona, it's more thrashing.
Having said that, they're going to start paving that the next morning. Would you like to see Daytona keep a lot of those characteristics, or would you like it just to be another Talladega-like track? Well,
I think you'll see a better race with it repaved. You're going to see a race similar to what you did at Talladega. You'll see guys dicing up. Daytona's over the last 10 years have really gotten strung out during the course of the race, and I definitely think when they repave that, you're not going to see that anymore. You're going to see everyone back in a tight pack.
Lewis and then Mulhern.
Yeah. Since Don asked my pavement question, do you see with the opening up to the drivers, have at it, boys, has it gone too far this year, or is it just right in terms of being aggressive on the racetrack?
Well, I don't think they're making the penalties any different. I think if somebody deliberately takes someone out, they're still going to penalize you 2 laps. So, to me, it's more of a slogan than anything. I really don't think that anything's different. We've always gotten into each other. This year, there seems like each week there seems to be more of that going on, but it's not because we know that NASCAR will let us do anything we want to do. We still got to race these guys week in, week out, so it's still going to be a self-policing sport. So I think, nothing's really changed.
We'll go Mulhern and then Utter, and then we'll finish up with Dustin.
Mike Mullard, MikeMullard.net. I'm looking at Daytona, the repave down there, and 200 miles an hour. Now, 200 miles an hour has been sort of like a no-no land at Daytona and Talladega, but they keep raising the speeds, and the restrictor plates keep getting bigger and everything. Do you think that 200 miles an hour, can you guys race at 200 miles an hour at Daytona? If they say, hey, we want 200 miles an hour in the headline, could you guys draft at 200 miles an hour there?
I mean, we were in the Talladega test doing 210 with no problem. The only reason they made the restrictor plate bigger is because the spoiler it's going to make it that much slower. So I don't think the speeds are going to be any different. The cars might be slower, to be honest with you. So all the talk about a bigger restrictor plate, compare the speeds from Daytona 500 to July, I doubt you'll see any difference whatsoever. It's only they're just trying to counteract one. We put the spoiler on, and the cars went 2 seconds, 3 seconds slower at Talladega, so we had to put a bigger plate on to offset it. We were going way too slow.
But you ran 210 or whatever Junior said down there in the 10.
Yeah, and there was no problem. These cars can handle it. In my opinion, the faster they make it, the better the racing will be.